What's going on, guys? My name is Brody. Welcome to the UPB channel. Today we're going to be doing a deck analysis video on a new card that I think is very beautiful in the new Scarlet and Violet base set that is not getting the love it deserves, and that is Iron Shreds EX. This is a beautiful, budget-friendly rogue deck that has some abilities that I think you need to see to really believe. So let's get right into our deck analysis here. Go over the build before we get into the actual games for this video. For this deck, we're going to be utilizing the Iron Shreds EX's Cybernetic Wheels. This attack hits for 160 damage, and then you switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. The other main attacker in this deck is going to be your single strike Hariyama from Fusion Strike with the Guts ability. If this Pokemon would be knocked out by damage from an attack, flip a coin. If heads, this Pokemon is not knocked out, and its remaining HP becomes 10. So you get to negate a one-hit knockout on this Hariyama, hang in with 10 HP, and then strike back in with Hammer In, which is 100 damage for 3 energy. But if you were attaching single strike energies onto that Hariyama, each single strike energy is giving you an extra 20 damage per. So you're bringing that Hariyama with Hammer In up to 160 damage, which, if you're running the math along with Iron Shreds at 160 damage, is enough to put in a 2-turn knockout on a 320 HP Pokemon. That's going to be enough to take out a lot of VMAXs, pretty much all EXs. Anything big standing in your way, you get a safe, sufficient 2-hit knockout between Iron Shreds and Hariyama. Now, with this Hariyama and Iron Shreds build, the energy acceleration is important. I've chosen Blastoise with Vitality Spring from the Pokemon Go set in order to get this done. Vitality Spring allows you to, once during your turn, search your deck for up to 6 energy cards. That's 6 basic or special energy. Any 6 energy in your deck, you're able to accelerate with Vitality Spring. You attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. If you do use this ability, your turn will end. However, I feel it is more than adequate and sufficient enough to sacrifice a turn to accelerate 6 energies onto your Pokemon. Really gets you going fast, and as it being a 1 prize, you're able to sacrifice it if necessary and only lose 1 prize. However, hopefully you won't have to. We are running the Diancie to use Princess Curtains. This will save us from being bossed out into the active. So what you want to do is make sure you get your Diancie into the active spot. You can use Spike Draw as well to start fishing your deck and drawing using Spike Draw. That'll keep your Blastoise and your Iron Shreds and Hariyama all safe until they have the energy on them with Vitality Spring to keep them safe. Another stall card I've thrown in this deck is the Miltank with Miracle Body. I'm sure you're all aware of this Miltank by now. Miracle Body allows you to prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from attacks to your opponent. From your opponent's Pokemon V. This deck will only get better once Paldea Evolved comes out, because Paldea Evolved has a Mimikyu with a Safeguard ability that not only blocks Pokemon Vs, but Pokemon EXs as well. So Paldea Evolved will only evolve this deck and make it even better. Along with this build, we are running a 4 single strike energy. As I said, those are going to help give our Hariyama a little bit of an extra punch to hammer in with. And we are also running a lot of switches. We're running 3 switch and a rope. We have our rare candies to help get our Blastoise going, skipping the War Turtle completely. Got a couple boss. We got Jacq to fish for our Blastoise, as well as our Hariyama, 3 Nest Balls. The single strike Urn of Vitality is in there for late game in case we lose some single strike energies and we really need to pack an extra punch. We're able to get 2 of them from our discard back into our deck so that we can hit a little harder late game. I did have a full 4 playset of Battle VIP Pass, but I feel like I've been able to get it done with the 3. This is a pretty tight build. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to try and squeeze in. We are running 2 Path to the Peak. I did have some Temple of Sinnohs in here as well, although that did shut down my ability to hammer in a little extra with the Hariyama when I had the single strike energies on it, so I took those out. We also have Irida to help us get our Blastoise and our Rare Candy, as well as a Judge to help us cycle our energies back in. Arvin helps us grab Switch if we really need a Switch to get the Hariyama out of the active. We have a lot of ability in this deck. I've been having a lot of fun running it, and I hope you will as well. If you need the current deck list here, I'm going to be posting that in my Discord. If you join, Discord link will be in the description of this video. You're more than welcome to check out. I will probably just export the entire deck list into the description of this video. You're free to copy and paste that into your PTCG Live, and you can start running this deck right off clipboard today if you'd like. If you have any ideas for how to make this deck better, or if you have any other deck ideas that you'd like to see me run and critique, or just sort of give the full spotlight to, please leave them in a DM for me on Discord as well. Want to make more of these videos, cover some more decks, and get more invested into the TCG, and hopefully get more of you invested in the TCG. Now, without saying much more, let's get right on in to the games for this video. Guys, if you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe for more videos like this. I appreciate you coming on by the channel. Now let's get into the games. Alright, coming into our first game here. We are getting to go first for our first game, and this matchup was really fun. I absolutely loved this game with our Iron Shreds EX. We had a wonderful setup, as you can see from our hand. We got our little Battle VIP Pass, as well as a Makuhita that helps us fish and grab our Iron Shreds, and we also grabbed our Squirtle. Already had the Diancie in the active to start, so it is a great start for this deck. We probably could have gone ahead and hit that Ultra Ball, but it wouldn't do us a whole lot of good to Ultra Ball for the Miltank just to have it. We set up pretty well just as is. Of course, they're going to hit their Miraidon's ability to search their deck for 2 basic electric Pokemon. They go ahead and fish their Raikou and a Mareep. They also grab a Miraidon as well that they place down and use the ability again, allowing them to fill up their bench fully. They're not doing too shabby themselves, but I'm pretty fond of how we were able to get started either way. And get their energies attached with their Electro generator card there. Not sure what the name is, again, off the top of my head right now, but we're having a good day. I hope you're having a good day while you're watching this. They are coming into with the Raikou to hit their Fleet-Footed for their draw ability before, I believe, passing it back over to us. And for our starting turn here, we are starting off strong, getting that single strike energy down onto the Makuhita. Does take us a little bit of time to start getting the ball rolling here, but we're going to drop down a path to the Peak and to shut down their Fleet-Footed, and then grab our Blastoise and our Hariyama. Go ahead and Rare Candy into the Blastoise and Hariyama down. And then we can right away start hitting our Vitality Spring and getting our energies attached to our Pokemon. We're going to grab 2 more single strike energies. We're going to grab 3 steals and a fighting. This allows us to still have energy left over in order to possibly set up another Iron Shreds, as well as just get our Pokemon fully ready to hit. We got a great start on this game. I was super happy with that. As you can see, we're now ready to hit our Cybernetic Wheels and then come in with our Guts and start hammering in. Thanks to that Vitality Spring with the Blastoise, this really makes this deck so much better. Of course, the Dynamotor and Tandem unit is not so bad either itself. They are really cranking right now with their deck. They had a Drapion in there as an answer for Mew, which I didn't actually catch the first time I played. So they're running a slightly different build that's kind of more varied in trying to get around to getting that Drapion V set up so that they could smack a Mew V for a quick one-hit knockout. I'm sure with Dynamotor as well, that helps them set up their energy pretty quick. On this turn, it looks like we are a little bit trapped here with our Blastoise in the active. We do have the rope to switch back out, so we go ahead and use our escape rope to force them to make a switch. Sadly, they went for their Regieleki, which is at the end, this is the move that really cost them the game. We were able to get that early game damage on their Regieleki V. Now, while that is good for us and they were able to save it, The fact that we were able to get that early game damage on that Regieleki pretty much cost them any chance of coming back, because late game we were able to boss that back out when it was a Regieleki VMAX and take the win. Sorry for the spoiler alert there, but this game was pretty hype. We're coming in here after that cybernetic wheels, getting into the active with our Hariyama, and starting off our next turn, we are able to hit our strike, but it looks like we went ahead and skipped that to go for a Vitality Spring so that we could set up our cybernetic wheels once more on Iron Treads EX. This actually proved to be the defining move of our game, was being able to have that extra Iron Treads EX set up for the late game, because that is how we were able to get that late game smack on that Regieleki V Max that got us the win. Coming into their turn now, they still have their Flaffy in the active. I think they were planning on losing that. They assumed they would lose it, but I was gracious enough to think one step ahead, plan for the late game. Come back into our turn with a Nest Ball, which we go ahead and grab a Miltank with. And then for this turn, we go ahead and attack, I believe, with our Hammer in, hitting for 160 damage and taking out their Dynamotor Flaffy. Hammering in for a thick 320 damage, and then grabbing ourselves our first prize card, which is another Hariyama. Now for their turn here, they're gonna clutch as hard as they can, try and get their next Miraidon EX set up. They're gonna strike for 220. We're gonna flip for Guts, which we unfortunately do not get here. We do lose the Hariyama, which is sad, and I did cry, as you can see. We start moving in our next turn here. We're gonna get our Iron Treads EX into our active so that we can start attacking. To get the Ultra Ball, which I believe we use here to sacrifice the other Ultra Ball and Path in order to get ourselves a Makuhita, so that we have another Hariyama for our next turn. Luckily we did grab Hariyama out of our prize cards so that we were able to get that going for the next turn. I believe here we went ahead and yes, we use our cybernetic wheels. Smack for 160 on the Miraidon, and we switch into the Diancie to protect us on our bench, so that next turn we can quickly use the Blastoise to set up our next Makuhita into our Hariyama. They're going to go ahead and hit their, I believe it's Arven, as they select their cards from their deck. I can't believe I just try and click the video to zoom in on the card while I'm on the editing software and not in the game. It is a problem. When you play the game a lot, you'll end up clicking cards on screen thinking you can zoom in and read them. Unfortunately, you cannot. They go and hit their Dynamotor to start accelerating more energy onto the Miraidon EX with the Regieleki V in the active. Little dangerous for them, but they're safe for the time being as we're focused on getting our Hariyama set up as soon as we get into our next turn here. They do attack for 30 on the Diancie, which is fine. We can take a hit and, you know, make it just fine. Go ahead and draw a Battle VIP Pass that does us no good, and we will go ahead and evolve Makuhita into Hariyama, hit our Vitality Spring, I believe. But I think at this point we actually don't have energy left in the deck. So if we're going to do that, I think we're at the point where we'd have to fish it out of our prize. So right now, we're just kind of stuck for the moment being. We end our turn and pass it back off to our opponent. Our opponent taking a good time to think before passing it back with nothing else to do. Path to the Peak allows them not to fleet-footed. They probably didn't have the energy necessary because they've already used it all to set up. Or it is prized. We come in on our turn. Still, once again, just kind of locked up with nothing to do. We're not able to get our Hariyama set up. We were. I was just not utilizing it that last turn, which I should have. We ended turn by accident because I assumed I didn't have any more energy, probably. Sometimes it's hard to remember exactly what was going on when I recorded the games. These games were recorded around 3 to 4 a.m., so I was a little sleep deprived, as I am now as well, even though it's midday. They do go for the boss's order here and switch into, I believe, the Iron Treads. Opponent's choosing a new active Pokemon. Oh no, they discarded the boss. Sorry, my apologies. Go ahead and retreat into the Regieleki. Throw down another 30 on the Diancie, and then switch back out to their wonderful little Raikou V, which they're using to protect themselves as a wall, which is fine. We're actually not doing much right now anyway. We're just biding our time, waiting for an energy. I'm, at this point, just willing to lose a prize to stall for the time necessary so that I can draw through my deck. They pass it right back to us with not much to do. Here, it looks like we just end our turn again. So far at this point, the game does slow down quite a bit, but it was necessary to take this time to stall out so that we could fish through our deck, have some time to get into the cards we needed. Luckily, they were running a little slow as well, so this game was pretty balanced as far as our ability to draw in through our deck. We both had great starts and then slowed down mid-game. I think that helped keep the pace of the game pretty close, a little bit suspenseful even. They come in for the final hit on our Diancie, taking it out, which allows us to move our Cybernetic Wheels, sorry, our Iron Treads EX back into the active to start smacking with our Cybernetic Wheels. We just got to choose one to go with. Doesn't matter, we go with the pretty one because it is a beautiful SIR, and we want to see that beautiful SIR get into the active and start smacking, which we do. I'm going to hit for 160 right about now. Don't know why I'm taking so long to think about it. As you can see, the game from this point out is pretty much handed to us. We just got to keep attacking, keep hoping for the best. However, they do give us a huge leg up at the end of the game here. We're grabbing 2 prizes, leaving us with 3 prizes remaining. And we're going to switch into our Miltank. No reason to switch into the Miltank. But I did switch into the Miltank, even though I should have gone into the Hariyama. They don't have any other Vs past this point. Well, they do, but none that can really mess with us. So I guess I misspoke there. I thought this was after the point where I'd taken the Raikou. We did put the first hit of damage on the Raikou. We switched into the Miltank to keep us safe. And at this point, we're stalling for more time, blocking their damage with Miracle Body. They pass it back to us. We finally get a nice switch we need, which we use to switch back into our Iron Treads right about now. As you can see, the UI is fighting me a little bit on me pulling up my Switch. There are still issues with this app that everybody knows about, and we're trying to get through them as best we can. We hit our Cybernetic Wheels and switch into our Hariyama. I think I went with the Hariyama, but I'm hovering on that Miltank thinking about it. Just in case they go to the VMAX, but I know they won't. So I'm pretty sure here I went into the, yes, we go into the Hariyama, into the active to protect us with Guts, hoping that we'll get the energy we need out of our prizes from the Raikou, which we do. As you can see right here, we get the last energy we need. That's really all we were waiting for, babies, that last energy. We get our Hariyama cooking so that we can start smacking with that. However, we don't even have time to worry about it because for their turn, they decided to do something a little risky, and that was hit a boss's order to bring in our Iron Treads EX so that they could take that out, bring them down to their final 2 prizes they would need to take to win. However, what that does for us is gets our Hariyama out of the active, which we couldn't do without a switch before. We have our boss in hand, and from here on, all we gotta do is hit our boss's order, bring in that VMAX, which thankfully we were able to get that early game damage on. We hit for our second amount of 160, but first we want to attach to our Hariyama, I guess. We hit for that 160, take out the Regieleki VMAX, and bring on the win with our final 3 prizes being scooped up off the Miraidon EX deck. Supposedly one of the top performers in the new meta, however, we crush it pretty well. And now for our next matchup. This was also a pretty decent game. Not the most impressive game possibly, but it was a good win that we had out of some of our streaks from our Iron Treads EX matches that we got from this recording session. Once again, not a terrible start for us. We got our Diancies. We have a Battle VIP Pass in our first initial hand as well, which helps us get our bench set up a pretty fair amount. We go ahead and active our Diancie before our opponent reveals to us that they are playing a Lost Box deck, as we can see with the Colress there. Initially, by the sleeves, I thought that it was a Regidrago, which also gives me a bit of a panic for the Regidrago matchup, as where Miltank would usually block a V Pokemon, Regidrago is actually able to hit Miltank, even though it is a V-Star Pokemon, because the Apex Dragon move, if you select a 1-prize Dragon-type move, it counts it as a 1-prize Dragon-type move, because the attack you're using is that of a 1-prize Pokemon, not a Pokemon V or VMAX, so it can actually get through the Miltank, which can be very annoying when you're trying to save yourself on some damage and force them to have to boss if they can't. But here you can see they're running the Comfey. They are cranking with a little Lost Box deck. For our first turn, we get a nice little start. We draw into a Squirtle, drop that on our bench. We hit our Battle VIP Pass, to grab our Iron Treads EX and a Makuhita. We'll also go ahead and hit our Diancie down onto the bench before also grabbing our Irida and hitting that to grab a Rare Candy. We didn't grab the Blastoise again, even though we probably should have grabbed another Blastoise or Squirtle, just to help thin our deck a little bit. Any cards we can get out of our deck to help draw us into the cards we need are pretty good moves to make within your priorities of moves there. Should try and, as much as possible, try and early game thin your deck down so you can draw into cards you actually need. We end that turn off with a Spike Draw and draw into a Hariyama as well as a Switch. We're getting really nice draws from our deck this game. They're going to go ahead and drop down an unfazed Fat Snorlax onto their bench, which is pretty useful for them. They're building their Lost Box pretty slow. They might have been better off grabbing another Comfey other than grabbing the Snorlax, although the Snorlax does help them somewhat. Also, they're going for the Giratina early game, which another mistake in my opinion. They really should be maximizing trying to get the Comfeys down so they can early game set up their Lost Box abilities. They're hitting another switch to go into now the Giratina so that they can use Abyss Seeking, which you know, is fine. It's good. Abyss Seeking is good for speeding it up as well. However, you really want to make sure you're maximizing on getting those Comfeys down early game. And the other thing that threw me off about them in this startup is they switch into the Giratina, but they didn't even have an energy to hit Abyss Seeking, so I don't understand why they would even leave their 2-prize out there in the active. I guess they felt safe early game, which is fine. I tend to make similar moves sometimes as well. But this turn, we go ahead and hit our Rare Candy, evolve into our Blastoise. We path to the peak to get rid of their Beach Court. And then, we go ahead, and what we should do here is, yep, there we go. We hit our Vitality Spring and set up our energy on our Hariyama and our Iron Treads, once again getting a beautiful setup in the start of this game, baby. Grab the 3 steals we need. It ain't that hard. Drop it in there. Okay, hits are done. and then we set up our energy onto our benched Pokemon. Since we weren't able to draw an energy down to get on one of our previous ones, it was more beneficial for us to get that energy onto the Diancie for Spike Draw, as you could see from us being able to draw into the Hariyama and the Switch. Very useful, very helpful for this game. We ending off our turn here after the Vitality Spring. Would have been good if we don't have to end our turn with Vitality Spring, but it's fine. We can always hit a Spike Draw later. However, we won't have to because what we can do is switch and start getting cooking. But they're going to hit a little rope here. We're going to have to switch our Diancie in. Something else. I think we go into the other Diancie because that seems to be the best bet for us. Yep. Are we going to hit? As you can see in the game, I'm saying things quick, but then you're seeing me take a little bit of time. I've been starting to do that lately while I play. I'm prone to making rush decisions. Those rush decisions usually end up in me making misplays that I usually wouldn't have if I had just taken an extra second to observe the board. That's another good tip for play. Don't always jump right into making decisions based off of what you see. Take a second, see what you miss that could give you better insight to make a better move, or whether or not the move you were going to make is a good move. It may not be the best time to make that move. Maybe one more turn sometimes where you can use a previous turn to set up an energy and put damage in for an earlier game attack to set yourself up for later. It's usually the better bet. Our opponent is sitting here, getting through their deck here, using their Colress, discarding another boss and an Ultra Ball. Once again, I'm not really sure what they were trying to do with this deck. It's not a bad idea, but it doesn't appear to me, at least, that they were really fully confident on what kind of things they wanted to prioritize within their game here. I would assume maybe newer player. However, you know, they're running a Lost Box deck and they're running it well. They're running it right. It could be just a standard Giratina build. This could be the default build for all I know, and I wouldn't know because I have not checked it out and played it. We're going to go ahead and use this turn to Vitality Spring once more. We're going to grab a Fighting Energy for our Hariyama and nothing more, because we don't want to get greedy and set up more than we need to. Might have actually grabbed another energy for the other Diancie as well, but I can't quite recall, to be honest. Yep, it looks like I just grabbed the one I needed for the Hariyama, and we ended our turn there. I felt pretty comfortable within this game because I didn't see a whole lot of action coming from my opponent's side. They had a minimal hand, only one Comfey down. They were not maximizing their ability to set up their Lost Box, just sitting with their unfazed fat out in the active and sucking on things with a vacuum. Really, you know, I wasn't feeling very scared at all. They did get rid of the Path to the Peak there, which is one thing that kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, alright, they could start getting the Giratina popping now. We could see some serious damage coming out. But once again, I wasn't too panicked at this point in the game. I felt pretty confident in my deck and what I knew I was about to do. Here, what we go ahead and do is we switch. Or do we hit the boss first? Yeah, we hit the boss first, it looks like. If we just drop it now, so that we can use it and stop taking my beautiful viewers' time. Once again, we are on that watch time grind to get our monetization goals unlocked. If you guys enjoy this content and you're watching it with me, I appreciate you checking out my channel and giving me your time. It is the most valuable resource you have to give to a content creator is your time. So for those of you who are watching without clicking through, leave a comment down below and just say, "You're welcome, man." Just so I know that you're watching through. We go ahead and move our Diancie into the active here to keep us safe from getting bossed out. And we sit and wait while our enemy here, our rival, our absolute villain across from us, takes their turn. They attach an energy to their Giratina and pass it back to us. They are really not doing all they should in this build, in this game. They are kind of just floating in the water at this point, which, you know, God bless them. Do what you can and do what you will. But take note from the action, or inaction rather, that they're having in this game, and you can learn from that as well. This is as much as my side is a what to do, their side is a what not to do. If you're hitting that lost box, you really want to keep getting your Comfey in the active. You want to hit your flower selecting. If you can't Abyss Seeking with Giratina, don't have it in the active. Get it out of there. That's your smacker for later. We have our Hariyama up in the active. And we're going to go ahead and smack for 140. Unfortunately, not enough to get the KO on the active there. But we go ahead and switch out, actually. Oh yeah, they have the rope out. Yeah, that's what we were doing on this one. They're hitting the rope and switching in to, I believe, the Comfey. If I see them move the Sableye out, I'm going to lose my mind. There we go. So they move their Comfey back in. They're starting to get back on track to doing what they know they need to do. I think what I'm suspecting is, when I had the Path to the Peak out before, they probably assumed the Path to the Peak would stop flower selecting. So they didn't bother switching into the Comfey before, because they thought they needed to get rid of Path to the Peak in order to use that ability. But Path to the Peak only blocks abilities for the Pokemon. They do not block abilities for other Pokemon. So Path to the Peak did not affect the Comfey, but I think they thought it did. We have a nice hand here as well. We attach to our Diancie with the Fighting Energy, and we go ahead and hit our Judge to cycle in a new hand here. Get some decent stuff, but also not so decent stuff. We do have a Ultra Ball, which we could use, but there's no point to really use it at this point. So we go ahead and Spike Draw, or no, we retreat back into our Cybernetic Wheels to hit in and switch back out to our Guts. We hit for 320 on the Comfey. Whenever we're ready, we consider using the triple laser. Actually, we triple laser here. I didn't see that one coming. We triple laser to put in early damage, just because we thought, you know, well, we're gonna take out the Comfey anyway. And also, I guess I did feel cocky. I felt safe leaving my Iron Treads in the active, because I knew it couldn't get one hit knockout by a Sableye or a Snorlax at this point. So that is another reason why I guess I went for more of a riskier approach to just take it out with our nice little triple beam laser. Want to check out the unfazed Fat here. There you are. They drop 180 damage on our Iron Treads and flip 2 tails so that they remain asleep. And we remain inactive, ready to smacktive. We can get a single strike energy on our Hariyama there, which I would probably do. But right now it looks like we're just going to skip all that and go straight into the Cybernetic Wheels. Attack as our time's running out, and then switch into our Hariyama. They only have 5 cards in their Lost Zone. So that all they can really do right now is spit innocently with Cramorant, and it doesn't appear they have one around. It looks like they might both be prized. I'm going to go ahead and draw into their next turn with Sableye in the active, 30 damage on it. Not much they can do here. The game's looking absolutely rough on their end. They're running a lot more energy than you would expect in a Lost Box build. However, they are running one with Giratina, but it looks like they have a lot more energy than they need. They finally have the Cramorant coming out for Spit Innocently. We do see that finally gracing their bench, which is good on them. The question is, do they actually get it into the active to attack? I can't quite recall. They're going to go ahead and hit for 40 with Scratch from Sableye, which is not a good bet for them to make, in my opinion. They probably should keep that Sableye just in case. But at this point, they just need to get in damage and start smacking however they can. So we're going to go ahead here and hit again with Hammer In for 140 damage. Sorry, 110 with our resistance disadvantage there. We're taking one prize on that, and it is a boss's order. Leaving them with, I'm assuming they're going to get the Comfey into the active before they pull back out to the Cramorant here. Yep, that would be the move they should make. So it just looks like they held themselves back from playing properly for quite some time. They are getting the Crams going now. It took them how many turns to get more than like 4 more cards into their Lost Box? It took entirely too long. The Lost Box, you really want to just make sure you're hitting your switches and retreats as much as possible so that you can get 3 different Comfeys into the active within 1 turn, hit your flower selecting, get 3 cards into your Lost Box alone just with those. And then, you know, possibly even more by hitting, say, a Lost Vacuum or Colress or something else in your turn. You gotta stay on top of getting cards into your Lost Zone when you're running a Lost Box. That goes without really saying. But the game's pretty much over at this point. They switch it back to us, and we're able to go ahead and just schmack and take out for one final prize. So we grab our Hariyama, hit for 140 on the Comfey, and that is game. And we are in to our next game. Now we're coming through once again with our Iron Treads EX to play against a competitor who is coming at us with a fearful little deck. They're running a Dialga V-Star with Arceus. Of course, we don't know that just yet. All we see in the active is the Arceus. And unfortunately, we get a little bit of a rough start with 2 Makuhitas, though we do have the Nest Ball to grab ourselves an Iron Treads, and then we have another Nest Ball, which we end up grabbing. That's beautiful little Squirtle, our squirty little boy. We're going to take in energy here that we will attach to our Makuhita, and then we will end our turn. Now, though I don't know it yet, they're about to go really hard with some steel type damage on us with that big Dialga V-Star. Of course, Dialga V-Star has that V-Star ability that allows you to hit and take an extra turn, which is damaging and will leave me absolutely in fright. But right now we live in a state of blissful unawareness. We are just moving through our turn, attaching our energies as best we can in hopes that we start drawing into, say, an Irida or something that set up our Blastoise and get our energy going. And there it is revealed to us. The fear had started to set in. We see the Dialga V grace their bench, and Arceus beginning to get the energy moving on to that Dialga. Here is where I started to really start feeling the fear. We drew into our Irida though, as we needed, so that we could start setting up our Blastoise. And so now we will start popping off that Irida. Actually, what are we doing here? Wow, that would be a dumb move. We misplayed there. We should have just gotten the Irida going so that we could start setting up our energy. And yet for some reason, we decided to go ahead and boss. Terrible move right off the bat. Not even hard to figure out how. They go ahead and use a Crushing Hammer and take out one of our energies on our Iron Treads, which is absolutely annoying. The start of this game was very rough on us. They go ahead and get their V-Star going with Arceus, as well as Dialga V-Star. Attach a 4th Steel energy. And then unfortunately, we start getting smacked and beat around like a rag doll. Anytime now they're ready, they're going to Metal Blast for 200, take out our first Makuhita. We go ahead and move into the active. I think we went with the Squirtle. knowing that we'd be able to use it to at least get our energy set up and then move into our main attackers. So best bet we got here is to move in with the Blastoise, our Squirtle, and then get the Blastoise going, which we do. We set down our other Iron Shreds EX, we hit our Irida to search for the Blastoise and a Rare Candy. I didn't see it at first because I was hoping to see that gold one. Still wish the app would make a way for, you know, players to select the type of card they want. You know, if I want to use the rare gold candy or gold rare candy, you should make it so that I can select that version of the card if it's in my deck rather than just taking the first one available. Yeah, listen to me on that one, Pokemon, please. At least just by default put the nicer version of the card first so we can just take that one. We're gonna grab our energy here to start setting up our Iron Shreds. We get a steel onto there with a fighting energy. Get 2 single strike energies there, and we move 2 steel energies onto our Iron Shreds EX that we have in reserve. That brings an end to our turn. They're gonna hit their Star Chronos and take 2 turns on us, which is never fun. Never fun. But it's okay. Because, and I want you to believe me here, we are going to win this game. And this is a game that a lot of people would probably just concede and walk away from. But I usually like to hang in and take it on the chin because you never know what's going to happen unless you play the game through the very end. We go ahead and active our Iron Shreds that is not ready to attack because why would we sacrifice the one with full energy? We go ahead, they're going to flip for tails, whiff that crushing energy, attach another energy, and then they're going to boss, unfortunately for us, and start attacking our goodest boy. We give them a thumbs up so we know, you know, just to let them know, hey, respect, good move, good boss, good for you. Even though actually what I was saying was, you dirty mother, you son of a... I mean, I'll give you a thumbs up because respect, but God, man, that sucked. Because it did. We grab ourselves a Hariyama and promote that for our active, and smack for 140. Next turn here, we're able to hang in with our guts, as you will soon see. They're going to attach an energy for their Arceus for next turn, get that rugged helmet down, which is going to suck a little bit, but we're able to get around that one. Time for us to flip our heads. We survive and flip our guts accurately so that we can hang in with 10 HP, not losing this game. We have our Judge in hand. We'll go ahead and use that to cycle through our deck now. We grab an energy in hand, which is good for us because boop, we can drop that onto our cybernetic Rios. Not that we really need it or use it at this point, but you know, we also could hold it for later. We hit for 140 again, taking out the Dialga V-Star, grabbing us another 2 prizes, or actually our first 2 prizes, in which we take 6 and 5. Not 5 and 6 because I wanted to go downward ascending, I guess. Actually, it looks like we went with 6 and 4. I was a little hesitant. Grabbed a Ultra Ball and a Switch. And within the next turn here, they get a Radiant Jirachi down and get their little double colorless, or double turbo energy rather, on there. They're hitting their V-Star, searching through their deck. That rugged helmet did remove an energy off of my Hariyama, but didn't really hurt me too much because we did get another one. It goes right back to our hand. We didn't get another one. We got the same one back to our hand. We will drop that energy back into our Hariyama. We will then... Come on. Make a decision. We're just waiting on our past self to make a move. Hitting for 280. Getting the one-hit knockout on the Arceus with the weakness advantage. We're then going to take 2 and 5 for our prizes. We grab Hariyama and a Diancie. Nothing really too necessary to save us. We're really hoping to get another Steel Energy for our Iron Shreds EX, just in case. Luckily, Jirachi does flip 2 tails, so that they don't instantly knock us out, because that would instantly knock us out. It does not do damage, it just knocks us out. We go ahead and survive the rope, switch back for the Dialga, switch back into our Hariyama, and we will judge before we attack again. Grab another single strike energy, which we drop onto the Hariyama, I believe, just to smack for a little bit more. We hit for 160, hammer in, and drop that energy down on the Dialga V. It's going to come in with an Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards from his hand in order to search the deck for another Dialga V-Star. They then evolve their Dialga V, about now, I believe. Anytime, Dialga will drop another Steel Energy down, and then retreat. Oh, they actually retreat back into the Radiant Jirachi for that turn. Then they will use Marnie's Pride in order to detach 1 energy from their discard back onto the Dialga. They will try again and fail to get the 2 heads necessary to take us out. That Jirachi could have saved them the game. Unfortunately, the coin flips were not on their side in this game. Instead, they were on our side, which is good for once. We hit for 160 on the Jirachi. They do get to use their Entrusted Wishes ability, searching their deck for 3 cards they want and putting them into their hand, which they take their time doing. Clock's a-ticking. There we go. They finally made up their mind, and we will take 1 prize. Grabbing ourselves a nice little Squirtle. They advance their Dialga V-Star into the active. Sadly, not a whole lot of energy on to actually do anything. They will go for the Crushing Hammer twice. And with it twice, we lucked out there pretty big. They needed both of those to go through with heads to stop us. So luckily for us, we're able to withstand on more poor coin flips from them. We throw them a little thumbs up, let them know we're proud of them for trying. Although here, love it every time. We flip the heads, the Hariyama Guts, even they're happy for us. They throw us a little thumbs up. We're going to come with, I think we just attack here. We don't need to waste our opponent's time anymore, or waste our wonderful viewers' time anymore. We go ahead and just hit with the Hariyama. Seems our opponent is really happy with us on that win. And as you can see, we take home the W versus the Dialga V-Star. Guys, I want to thank everyone who made it this far in the video, especially for those who watched without skipping through. I appreciate you guys ever so much. You don't know how much you mean to me. We are on that watch time grind, trying to obtain the 400 necessary watch time hours in order for us to unlock monetization for the channel, so that we can level up in real life the way we level up in the app. Tier 21 unlocked at the end of some of these matches here. Go ahead and collect some packs and see what hits we can get out of Scarlet, Violet, and Pogo. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Again, in the comments, let me know that you have watched all the way through by saying you're welcome. Also, comment any different deck builds I should check out. Join my Discord link in the description below, and if you want the deck list for the deck I ran today, you can check the description for that. I will have that exported below. Guys, have great games and have a great day. UPB out.